Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see, and I would love to know more about you and what you like to stitch. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I know so many of us mentioned about how we are behind on floss tubes, and I watch other types of videos besides just cross stitching in my feed, so then it just keeps going. It just keeps going. And so for you taking the time to watch here, I know what's out there. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I have a good amount here. I feel the piles are growing. So I always had two kind of little tables by me, but now they're getting taller as I stack things on top. So we have a lot to talk about today. Before I get going with my own stitching, I do want to do a couple of shout out kind of things. So first off, a huge congratulations to Uplift Stitches, Melanie and Michael, and Cross Stitch the Globe, Stephanie and Allison. They both celebrated 1 year on Flosstube. So congratulations on your 1 year Flosstube anniversary. I enjoy both of their channels so much, and I really enjoy seeing the variety of projects between all four of the Stitchers. So I am so appreciative of you putting out videos. So I will list them down below if you haven't by chance started watching them yet, and give them a try if you'd like to see what they're stitching. And you'll have a year's worth of videos to go check out too. And then I wanted to do a shout out to a brand new Flosstuber to me. A Stitchy friend in the comments had mentioned to me that there was a fellow Delaware Flosstuber, because if you are new, I live in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And did I know about them? And I hadn't, and it's Snickerdoodle Stitch Kathleen. And so I watched, I think, one or two of her videos. I got a chance to jump on there right away to give them a watch, and I really enjoyed Kathleen's stitching. She stitches a variety of projects. Some of them are similar to me, some are different. She's also a quilter if you like to quilt, and from what it seems from the last few videos listening to her, that she likes to go to retreats and things like that. So you may have already met her, or you may meet her coming up somewhere. So I will link Kathleen Snickerdoodle Stitch down below if you'd like to check her out. I think if you're here watching me, I think you would enjoy her as well. Speaking of Delaware Flosstubers, I have something that I will talk a bit about later on, and that will lead me to a whole new kind of segment or thing I want to do here on my Flosstube, so that we can celebrate each other. But stay tuned for that. We'll do that later on in the video, because I want to start showing you some of my projects. So this week I did participate in ABCingo, which is part of the magazine monthly cross stitch challenge. And I also worked on my own I Spy, which is a challenge that I created. That's a monthly set of prompts, as well as the acrostics that I work on. They kind of, what I do with the acrostics sometimes is first I have to figure out ABCingo, because that's a daily thing. And then I kind of figure out, does it work in my I Spy? And then I work towards the acrostics as well. And sometimes things just jump out for any of the challenges that I say, that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to list or show you the things I did sequentially in ABCingo. I didn't do that last week at the very beginning of the video, and I may or may not, but you know what? It worked out today when I was getting everything ready. So I said, you know what? That's what we're going to do today. So if I go back to my calendar, and here so far, today is Z of all things. Here's my ABCingo board so far. I have done what was yesterday's prompt. I did stitch it, but I have a lot of projects. So I said, I'll show that to you next week. And that gives me a chance to put in, I got my 200 stitches in, which is what my kind of goal is. They say at least 100, but I try to do the 2. So I did do that, but I think it could get some more work this week. So you'll see that next week. All right, so if we go back to last week, the very first one was the letter J last Friday, and I used that for Jan Hicks Arabesque. I stitched this a couple times. I think I also did it for hashtag monochromatic Monday, because I love stitching my monochromatics. And you know, now that we've thrown out that hashtag, I really enjoy taking advantage of it. So if you have a monochromatic and you want to join us on Monday, hashtag monochromatic Monday. So there it is. I am stitching this on, it's an 18 count unnamed fabric. I really liked the floss color, which is called, make sure it's not upside down, Elven Wine, and is from Stitchy Stuff Co. on Etsy. And I just wanted that to be the highlight. You know how sometimes I really throw in all different other colors of fabrics, which you'll see coming up in some space times here. But this one I really just wanted to let it complement the color of the floss a little bit more. And I did some good stuff working. I think I'm almost done here. Got this part done almost. I have a little mistake. This one has multiple mistakes in it. And so far I've been able to kind of fix them as we go. There's something up here I made symmetrically a mistake. And then there's a mistake here with the keys. There's one extra stitch I want to put in on the top key. But I looked at it and I said it really wasn't worth pulling out. And so I didn't. And then, you know, worked down a little bit more. But you know how when you see things and then you can't unsee them? Well, I'm just going to do that for you too. If you look, doesn't this look like two eyes, a little nose, or a little mouth? Like there's the little brow and there's some hair. So doesn't that look like a little facial feature? Every time I see it now, I just see those as eyes, and then the rest of whatever it's supposed to be. So I thought I'd throw that out there to you. So now every time you see it, you might see the eyes as well and see a little face. I know that's not what she probably was designing, but you know, it's so funny when you see something, it's hard to unsee it. So this has been a lot of fun, and I like bringing this one out, you know, when I just want to do some monochromatic. I do have it as paper, not in Pattern Keeper, so it probably goes a little bit slower than it would on Pattern Keeper, but that's okay. And that's probably why I'm making so many counting mistakes too, but I'll take it. Lots of fun. And not enough mistakes to buy it again to put it in Pattern Keeper, so that's Arabesque. And at any given time, you could see that one come out, because I really do enjoy putting stitches into that. And I'm enjoying using the variegated floss. If you are new, you'll find I generally will use DMC rather than called for variegated on a lot of things. But where I do like to do, what I have started doing is taking some variegated floss that I may have bought and working with it on a monochromatic piece, or maybe I'm throwing it specifically just a straight color I've chosen into a pattern, so on and so forth. So it's nothing that's official in the pattern itself, but it just feels right, and that's when I happen to use it. So you will see things here and there, but generally if you're seeing me stitch a pattern, for example this one, I'm almost sure there's variegated flosses charted for it, but I'm using all DMC. Well, I am using all DMCs for now, but there is one color I am going to bring in, I think from the butterfly. I found a variegated floss that I think I'll do on the inside of the butterfly, but everything else is just DMC, is the DMC. And I kind of took that's more of a gray. I kind of took that color scheme and I ran with it, but I made it a little bit bluer. And I wasn't sure when I first was doing the lighter mauve here. I almost stopped, but then I decided to keep going. And I think once it's all in, I think it's going to look nice. But it was one of those where I had to kind of trust the process. And sometimes that process doesn't work, but sometimes it does. So I'm just going with it. I really like the darker colors on this blue, so I figured, let's run with it. This is 18 count bell bottom blues from Hand Dyed by Rolanda. For my Canadian friends, she is a Canadian hand dyer, and she's on Etsy. I don't know if she has her own website besides. This little tag says Etsy.com. So, and she does some, I don't know if it's just cottons or if she's cottons and silks. She does hand dye variegated flosses as well. So this week, this I didn't get a ton. It did get the prompt. So the letter for this came out was W. It's called Wings of Change from Silver Creek Samplers. And so there's my W. And I did get probably not much more, if I was to look, probably not much more than 200. I probably hit 300 stitches because I stitched on it a few different times. But I finally finished. It was taking me forever to get that darker mauve in there. So there's 3 shades here. If you wanted to change it, you'd need a light, medium, and dark of a specific color. And you could really just, I've seen it done in purple and it's gorgeous, or whatever color you would feel that you really like. And then we got this letter B in as well, and the little heart over there. I almost started the caterpillar, but I wasn't in 100% the right mind space to do all that counting. So I said, oh, I'll wait, and we'll go to the letter instead. I do love the color, that the deepest mauve here that the letters will be in. So I enjoyed stitching that part as well. So this one again can come out for different prompts or whatever. It's obviously more beginning of the year seasonal in the sense of spring possibly, but I'm not a particularly seasonal stitcher in the sense that I only stitch in season. I am pulling out, especially for October. We'll talk about my birthday stitch along in October. I pull out all of the fall and the pumpkins and this and then that, but I still keep, you could easily see me stitching summer in November because I just like it all. So you'll see this whenever I just feel like pulling it out. I might do some words because words go fast, and that would bring me over if I wanted to do the butterfly. I may wait till the end to do that one because that looks like it's going to be fun. Or, you know, kind of continue with the greenery. There's some giant leaves down here, so there's lots to do. But you'll see it. I did start a hashtag with that one. It's Butterfly Wings Sal. And some people have stitched it and have finished it. Some I think are still stitching along, or if you've thought about it, feel free to stitch along with me. And like I said, the color changes have been amazing. So if you like it, but you're kind of thinking, I'm not really a mauve-ish sort of person, you could really run with it. And if you have something like this, the DMC book, I can't rave about this enough. It's the DMC, it's the one with the color. It's the color card, and it's the one with the actual flosses that are the real flosses wrapped around. You could easily start looking in a row and pick out some colors, and that would help you. I use this a lot for my color changes in my, you know, when I want to change some of the colors in charts and things like that. So I would highly recommend that if you've thought about it and you were thinking about sometimes wanting to change colors. I think it would really be useful. Okay, next. So the next letter was C. So we said, well, there's crabs on here, so we're going to do Summer Quaker. This was, of my 4 pieces, this was the one for this week that I work on in a weekly rotation of 500 stitches. So I really wanted to find a prompt that would work for this because I knew I was going to be stitching it anyway, so why not combine them? I already have 13 projects this week, so if I can combine what I know I'm going to stitch with a prompt is all that much better. So that's what it looks like. And if you are new, there are some charting errors, and in the case of I can't figure out where it is, we've talked about this before, there's going to be a mistake. Let me show you with my stitching. So I am kind of trying to go backwards to fix that way. So let me show you as a whole. That's where it's looking so far. Oh, I really, really enjoy these Quakers, notwithstanding the typos or charting errors. Now, let's fold over here because I've been solidly working in this side for quite some time. And this is somewhere where the mistake is. They're not going to meet up properly. And unfortunately, there are, well, not unfortunately, it looks pretty. There's 4 of these diagonal lines that meet into the corner of the middle square. So I was going to just fudge this when I realized I need to make sure this works. And therefore, we're going to work on stitching some of the things down here. And then I will count this corner, figure it up here, and I might have to pull some stitches if I have to. I'm hoping not to frog. It's kind of why I've stopped. I have a whole bit of hanging thread in the back of this color that I just keep folding away when I start stitching because I want to see if I can salvage what I have or if I have to pull. This time we worked a lot here, so we ended up completely with the lobster. We ended up with the seagull, some little pieces as well, and little bits, which surprisingly was 500 stitches. You wouldn't think it, but it really always amazes me when you start counting stitches, how many are in, say, one little motif of sorts. This is being done on an 18 count Nantucket Sky by Fabrics by Stephanie. And the one thing I'm not stitching are the clouds across the top in the center because I really like this fabric. It gives to me like a kind of a partly cloudy sort of sky. I did stitch the sun completely in. It is partially covered by a cloud in the original, but I did change that up. Plus I wanted it to be a sunny day, so I decided we were just gonna make it sunny. And I think it'll be fine. The words will be in the center, so there won't be much on this side, but I don't think it'll be an issue. There's so much to look at, I think it'll be fine. So when I pick this up the next time around, I probably, there's a letter here, the letter M, and then a fish, and then the start of that border. So I'll probably do the M and the fish, and if I have more stitching time for that session, then I'll start working on this diagonal line. And then once that middle section, the border of it's figured out, I'll feel a lot more comfortable about this. And then I probably will at this point finish the outer edges, possibly, and then go with the middle. I am considering changing out the mermaid and just putting, I think so far right now I've got a sea turtle. I don't know if it's going to be a tight fit, so we'll see. So I've seen it done though, and I really liked it. So I think that might be what I'll do. This one, unless it comes out for a prompt, and they do sometimes, they're not only just once a month, but if it doesn't come out for any prompts in the next month, you'll see it 4 weeks from now again. Which will make us, it's October already. Wow. And there is a hashtag on that. It's summer at the shore, Sal. Alrighty, next. What was next? The next, let me flip the page here. The letter O. So I decided to do orange. Let me show you the original piece. And I just like stitching this one. I really do enjoy it. It's always fun when I can bring it out. This came in a set of 3. So it's these 3 gnomes from Wonder Stitch UA. And I am stitching, if I flip it this way and I make it bigger, I'm stitching this one right here. I would love to stitch all of them, but I have several gnome sets and they all have 3, and I just don't know if they're going to happen. They're bigger than you realize. I just love the charting on these. It's all DMC, and the depth of color when you start putting in the different parts is amazing. When I look at the leaves or this flower, the different layers of color really pop, and it does look dimensional. I think they do a wonderful job of charting. So that's what it looks like. This is done on an 18 count buttercream from To Die For Fabrics. I have this week 2 projects with To Die For. Just a reminder, they are not currently hand dyeing any fabrics. So their shop is closed. I decided to pick this color though, because I wasn't stitching on any of these gnomes from Wonder Stitch. I don't stitch the background kind of square, and I am choosing not to stitch the grounding circle at the bottom either. And so when I picked my fabric, I wanted to pick something that would go with, and I am using that color, the colors in those background squares as my guide, because I really like, again, how they do colors together. So I picked something that was similar. It's kind of washing out. It's more yellowy in person, the fabric. It's looking a bit less yellow there. Not an in-your-face yellow, but see how it blows it out all together. My goal is funny because I needed to see what this was called. So I checked my list, my 9 pages from my WIP parade in January. And with every project, I did put a goal for 2024. I need to revisit that now that we are in September and we've only got 3.5 months left of the year to see. I mean, those were just guidelines. It wasn't like I'm holding myself hard and steady to them. But I like to see what my thought processes were in January. My goal was to get the whole left side done. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I keep kind of coming over here as well, so I'm at my own cross purposes. I'm not doing what I had possibly said. Again, the depth of color in the beard and the like, there's 4, 5 colors, and so it really kind of it works in well with the colors, but it's just a lot of color changing. And I decided to kind of finish up through here. So I'm almost down with the foot. So the extreme outer edges of this will be done, and then I'll start working my way through. I know not everybody is a gnome person, and I necessarily didn't think I was either, but I do enjoy stitching these. I think part of it is just the richness of color and how well they're charted, that in the sense of combining the different DMC colors and shades and stuff, that I find I really do enjoy stitching them. I have a winter one. I have a St. Patrick's one. I finished the summer one. I don't remember what it was called. I don't know if that's been scrapbooked or not. Eventually, these gnomes, I haven't decided if they'll be in like a gnome collection or if they'll just be sprinkled seasonally wherever they happen to be. Next. Alrighty. This next one, the letter was N. And now I'm not playing this game for, I don't know why it won't let me go. There we go. For prizes, because if you are part of Magazine Monthly, if you do before and after pictures and things like that, you can play for prizes. Although I think Carolyn is CZ, you know who Carolyn is. I'm not going to get it right now. I'm bumbling over all my letters. And Robin, Bird's Eye Stitches, they're the moderators of the Facebook group. And so I think they're pretty open with your prompts. If you can, like me with I Spy, if you can make a case for it, I'm absolutely fine, because my goal is just to have you stitch on your projects. So I'm not going to worry about whether or not it officially fits in. But let me find my project here. This one here was the letter N. It's Librarian's House from Stone Street Stitch. And in my case, I am making this center house to resemble the Noah Webster house in West Hartford, Connecticut. And so I'm using N for Noah Webster. And I actually did work on that part this week, and I was going to show you what the house actually looks like. Is it in? Nope, it's not in that album. It's in this album. So this is what I am basing it off of, which means I took off, in the original chart, there was windows up here. I took those out. And then I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see. This picture is tough to tell. But what's around the windows is basically the same color, and door is the same color as what the house is. I feel like the house probably has had some fading. I believe this is painted wood. Would be because they've kept it, right? I mean, they wouldn't have put siding on this house that is a historical site, right? So I took that and I ran with it a little bit. So let me show you in full. This is what it looks like so far where I am stitching it. This is 18 count Darling David from Those Missing Stitches, a gorgeous color, in my opinion, that works with so many color schemes. I'm using Darling David on multiple projects, and they're not all the same vibe or theme, but I really like them on it. Because I really think this color would go well with a lot of things. Now, this is 18 count. I don't know what other counts look like exactly. And last time I worked on this, which might have been last week, I told you I was going to do some of the hearts to kind of go with, kind of get those done so I'm not left with just border. But I didn't do that this time. I wanted to kind of focus on Noah Webster. And I originally said I was going to stitch the house the same color as the hearts in this, which I think is 221. What I ended up doing, because I liked the idea of a slight difference, and in person, if you look closely, you can see it, but it's not jumping out at you. I actually picked a different color for the house. I went to my color card and I looked up 221, which is this one. And on the color card, this was the very last one on the entire row. And I looked at the very next one up, and it is 3721. So you can see they are almost exactly the same, but 3721 is slightly brighter. So I am stitching the house on 3721, and then around all of the windows and around the door, I will do 221. Again, on the camera, I'm not sure if it really shows up, but in person, you can see a difference. The other thing I'm going to do is, in the chart, the windows on either side of the door are very tall. I'm actually going to make them shorter to, again, look similar to the original house. And then the original house actually has a set of one row of windows, kind of like transom windows, I think, above the door. So I will make the door frame, I'll go up to top up the door frame, and I'll leave one row kind of like with windows. And I think I will backstitch those windows. I don't think I need to backstitch these because of the way they're charted, but those little transom ones I might, just so it separates them and looks a little bit more like the original house. So that was a lot of stitching. I know it doesn't look like much. This house is wider than you think it is when you look at the pattern. And so that was actually a pretty good amount of stitching. And I also obviously spent time trying to figure out my color scheme. I haven't picked out, so the house of the original Noah Webster is kind of a hunter green. That'll be easy. I'll pull out my card. I'll probably take my flosses and put these right next to like the different colors on the card and find one that works. So that's where that is. There is a hashtag. It's hashtag Librarian Sampler Style. I started this last year in September. It's obviously not going to be a September finish. I don't remember what my goals were on the, one day I'm going to go pull out, like I said, maybe this week I'll pull out the Whip Parade notes that I had, and I'll go through all my goals and see what happened, where I am on all my pieces, different pieces, and see if I can kind of hit some of those goals for the last 3 months. So that was the 10th. That was Tuesday. So Wednesday was the letter P. And I said, well, that means I can pull out Ruskin's Penguins, P for Penguins. I'm leaving these for the end. In fact, I'm leaving a lot of the center for the end. I'm kind of trying to work on the border. And I got a good amount done. It's not going to look like I've got much done, but the border is a little bit more involved than you realize. And I did have a mistake. I'm looking at it upside down. I thought I made another, but no. I had a mistake up here in one of the little, I think the middle one, which is different than all the side ones. And so I did have to do a little bit of pulling out and some frogging. But here it is. I clearly went with a much kind of brighter tone. This one is the second piece from To Die For Fabrics that I'm working with, and it's Mermaid's Dream. And I just thought it was so much fun. The white pops. Now, in person, I don't know how well this pops. I mean, on camera, but in person, it certainly does, because there's snow all around the penguins. The parts where the white is surrounded by the black, it certainly does pop nicely on this color. And the black looks really nice. That was the other thing. I wanted to make sure that I didn't do so dark that the black kind of blended in. I think the border is going to look really sharp, and then we'll have the penguins on the inside. This is the bottom. We're turning the corner here, so this will come down and go across. I'm all the way up here on the top, and now we're starting to work our way down. So you can see width-wise, it's not too bad. And I don't know, this is 18 count if I said it, but everything is 18 count except the next piece you're going to see. So when in doubt, the good guess is 18 count. I really do like that. I do some 60 and sometimes some 20s. But this seems to be kind of that sweet spot that I really enjoy. So that's what it looks like. Not super fun with the penguin, but I think saving those to the end is I'm really gonna enjoy that part. Now, I forgot to say for I Spy, I did use Librarian's House as the border. I figured sometimes you'll notice there's no rhyme or reason potentially with what I use with my prompts for I Spy, but sometimes there is. And I figured it is Sampler September. A lot of people would be stitching samplers, which generally has borders. So I thought it'd be, kind of a nice combination. Something you see at a wedding is obviously kind of a little nod. That is my wedding anniversary in September. So you will see sometimes, not always, but sometimes there is, sometimes obvious, sometimes more subtle little connections to the actual month. This next piece, speaking of my anniversary, and Mo is not in the house right now, so I don't have to whisper, is the piece that I'm working on for Mo for our anniversary. We are very, if you were to know us, we're not big on like elaborate gifts or things like that. We pretty much just, you know, we know like he wanted to do his pickleball camp in August, so we kind of we joke and we're like, ah, that was your birthday present. Or you know, we may do something like, you know, maybe go away for a couple days and be like, ah, that's our anniversary. You know, we don't really do a lot of gifts for each other. We just kind of do things thoughtfully here and there throughout the year. And then, you know, for our own birthdays or our own whatevers, we just, for my birthday, I will buy what I want and then I'll say, thank you. You did a great job picking my birthday presents. So anyway, that's a long about say that I wanted to do something fun. We're going to be married 25 years in September. And so it was so interesting. So it's going to be 25 years on the 25th of September. And I was trying to figure out, and a lot of you were helpful to remind me that, you know, 25 years is silver anniversary, which is not kind of good. This is kind of silver fabric. What I was thinking in my head, and I looked and I couldn't find anything anniversary-wise. For example, my birthday is October 23rd. So when I was turning 23 on the 23rd, that's considered your golden birthday. I don't know where it came from or whatever. So if you were born on the 10th, when you turned 10 on the 10th. And so I was curious if there was something that had to do with anniversaries. So when you had that many number of years on that date, so 25 years on the 25th. I just didn't know if there was something. It doesn't seem like there is. So we're just gonna, maybe we'll make something up. Anyway, that's what this looks like. And this is the 20 count. It's 20 count slate, yep, from Fiber on a Whim. And I am using one strand of Sulky. I was able to find colors that really matched the Aston Villa. If you are unaware, Mo is a huge Aston Villa football club fan, which is a Premier League team in England. And so I thought this would be a lot of fun to stitch. This is not their current badge. I believe that's what it's called. But this was the one I could find charted, and I don't know how to chart myself. And I'm not sure I want to kind of go down that. I don't have anything technology-wise to do that. And so that would be then another rabbit hole to go down that I might just leave the charting to the way talented designers that are out there. So I am doing one strand, which I've told you last week, I am struggling with a little bit. I am slower stitching with one strand, but it's coming along. I mean, literally now all I have is blue. So I'm trying to get between 150 and 200 stitches a day. I have to tell you though, this week, I swear it was like, I don't even know. He sensed it every time I was stitching on this. Now I stitch on it. I'm on, right now we have mostly a one floor house, but then we have a small section up top that was kind of like an extra area that I thought that would be great for like this is my crafting area. And then on the other side, we have a little area where we have some chairs and a couch and TV and all that. And so I stitch up there a lot during the day so that he's working remotely downstairs. I'm up there and, you know, up here, and we don't bother each other. And so when he comes upstairs, I can hear him because our steps are kind of like a wood step. There's no rug or anything on them. So I can hear the steps as they come up. Every time this week, I think, except for one day, I was stitching on this, I could hear his steps coming up the stairs. So then I would throw it down behind me in the little basket I have of my projects. And I got smart. At the end of the week, I would have another project kind of set because several times he came up and it just looks like I'm sitting there not doing anything because I didn't have a backup. So this week, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I had the backup ready to go so that when he invariably came and interrupted me, I was like, oh, well, at least it looks like I'm doing something else because it just looks like I said doing nothing. But that's where it is. It's like he has the sixth sense of when I know I'm pulling this one out. I'm really hoping that the 150 to 200 stitches a day will do it. At that point, I usually pull maybe 3 lengths of the Sulky, and that's what I do and put in. At that point, I'm kind of over it and having to deal with just the slowness and some of the issues I have with the stitching of the one strand, and I'm kind of like ready to move on. I don't want to hate the project and make myself do more than that a day and really not like it by the time he gets it. I did order, and I wasn't sure, and it will fit. It doesn't look like it will, but it just will barely fit. I ordered this from Amazon. it's just a 3x5 opening frame. And the opening of where this will go exactly in there. I did kind of a test. It was crooked when I did it, and I have a sneaking feeling it might be difficult to do. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the project around the glass. It doesn't need glass against it, so I think I'll use the glass as my guide. If I decide against that, I'll maybe do a thicker. I have comic book board. That may work, but I want to make sure it fits comfortably in here. So I'll kind of do both. I might trace this onto a comic book board, the glass, and then, you know, but I think I'm taking the glass out. But I did this against it because I wasn't sure what to do, because I didn't want to take anything away from the colors here. And this did look nice against the dark. So that is, I think, my plan. So now that I have the frame, when I get it finished, I can just try to do a quick full finish, hopefully before our anniversary in, oh gosh, if I look at the calendar, when is it? Today is the 13th. So I have till a week and a half. I have pretty much. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. That last week, there might be a lot of frantic blue stitching. Alrighty. So that's that piece. We've moved on. So that was ABCingo. There was Thursday, was the letter A. I will show you that yesterday. I will show you that next week because, like I said, I'll do some more stitching on it. I did get it, and it's colored in here on my chart, but like I said, I had enough to show you. I mean, we're already at 36, and we still have projects, decent number of projects, and then other stuff to talk about. All right, so next, if I go to my... I have an album in my iPad of just all of my whips, my works in progress. Here it is. And this is the full coverage piece that I'm concentrating on this month. Because of ABCingo and I Spy and some of the other challenges, I haven't pulled out a second full coverage. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll do a monthly one, and then I'll do a second one for 10 days or 1,000 stitches and rotate in and out that way. But right now I'm just concentrating on the one. Maybe for one of the prompts, I'll pull out a full coverage and then work on it alongside this one for the second half of the month or something. I try to give this a minimum of 100 stitches a day. A lot of times I do it at night because this is on Pattern Keeper, and I have a much easier time seeing the computer screen rather than the paper patterns at night. And so I'm able to zip. I'm still, you know, a lot in the top. And then you'll also see I'm kind of starting to work my way here. This tree has some work to be done, but I'm almost getting to the point, hopefully, where I can start pulling in some more colors. I like the purples and the periwinkles and the like. So don't get me wrong. Oops, sorry. This was against, I might have shook you there for a minute on the camera. I'm liking the colors. So it's not like I'm tired of them, but it's always fun to add some new ones in. As a whole, that's where it is. So these are the two top corners, as you can see. We discussed why I have extra fabric last week. And I did a lot more over here to kind of add some here, work my way down there. I might have added some. I pick, sometimes on a day, especially right now with the top section, the background, you can pick a color and then just work with it. And that's my stitching for that day. So that's why sometimes I'll jump all around. And then I also decided to work a little bit more coming down here. I did a little bit, I picked a few colors that would work into the tree, and then it would work down this way, and so on and so forth. So that's why the tree will it'll get its work in, but I think I'm going to work it in and then take that color and go somewhere else. But this is kind of, this is just about filled in here with this, the grayish with some of the pink sort of backgroundy. And we're getting ready, I think, at the bottom. This is pretty much the bottom of the tree trunk. So then I'll be pulling in some of the oranges for that part of the hill. So it's a lot of fun to see the colors. I really, really enjoy this piece quite a bit. It's Laslo Koday #1, and Laslo Koday is the artist, I'm assuming, because that's what it's called, and there is no other artist listed. And it is charted by Stitches So Beautiful. And Stitches So Beautiful, there was a mistake in some repeat symbols, and so such great customer service. You didn't even have to tell her. If you'd bought something for her, she recharted these with different symbols, and they're fantastic symbols now because they're things that are not similar to, say, the one next to it and everything. And she would just go through, she had all her records, and if you had bought a piece from her, she automatically sent you, once she had redone the symbols, that new copy. And I had probably 4 or 5 that she had to do for me, and I never had to say anything to her. The new copies just came when she got them worked on. So I really like Stitch. It's so beautiful for customer service, as well as she has a lot of great charts. I'm doing this on 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1, full cross, which is what I currently do all of my full coverage on. I've talked about wanting to try 20 count, but I'm a little worried now, or 25 count, with the idea of the 1 strand stitching, because I'm not a huge fan of it. I have to tell you, but I was gifted some 25, the Easy Grid, and I do want to try that for like a small full coverage, and I'll do it 1 stranded. And I'm curious to see how it feels. Maybe because it's smaller than, say, 20, I will like the 1 strand, and I'll kind of really enjoy it. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to doing that. I've told you I want to stitch some of the small, say the masterpiece, like the little mini full coverages. I think that would be fun to try on that, or find something that's a little bit bigger and put it on the 25 count to make it smaller. I might do that actually, because the little mini ones, if I do it on 25, they would be tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay, next. This one right here, I pulled out, I pulled it out on Saturday because I had some car stitching. So I said, well, this is monochromatic. Let's do it in the car. I find monochromatic is really enjoyable in the car for me, because you're just pulling out a strand after you finish a strand, and you don't have to worry about colors and losing them and so on and so forth. Sampler Seasons Autumn from Blueberry Ridge. I just started that this month for Sampler September. I am doing, I thought it was kind of fun. You know how people create different things for the month. So for S, you have Sampler September, you have Sunflower September, Spooky September. And I had never done that in my challenge book before, but I think what I'm going to start doing is listing what some of them are and try to pull some of my projects in that will work for it. So as I'm planning for October, if you know of any October, I know there's like Darktober, right, that people do, but if there's anything else that, I'll have to do something with owls in October, and of course there's my pumpkin birthday, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But you know, as I'm planning, if you know of any, let me know. And then it's always so much fun to see if I can fit some of my projects in. That's the beauty of having so many. So that's what the original looks like. And I actually did take a cue from the fabric choice. I went darker, but I chose a variegated floss. And let me look real quick at my tag. This is, I love this bag. Bree, oh, I loved Bree's channel. Bree doesn't do Flosstube anymore. It was Bree's stitching stuff. And she made this for my birthday one year, and it is gorgeous. So whenever I have projects with pumpkins and stuff, that is one of, I have another, do I have it with me today? No, I didn't work on that project. I have another pumpkin one that has projects in it, but it's not here. So I can't show you today. Alrighty, so that's what this looks like for what it is. It is Fire Lily from Stitchy Stuff. I'm sure I'll be able to show you that other project bag soon, because if it's got something pumpkin related or fall related in it, I'll be stitching on it soon. Let me fold this up a little bit more so I can hold it. And that's where I am. I really like this Fire Lily floss. You can, in person, you can see the variegation. I don't know if it's showing up so much on the camera. Now, I don't go out of my way and do all of the tricks to get maximum variegation, because I don't necessarily want maximum variegation. I like the really subtle changes, and so I follow some of the quote-unquote rules for using variegated floss, but not all of them. And this is 18 count, what is this? Dragon's Lair from Bestitch Me. So I actually did go darker, but I thought that was fun to, then this would pop on it. And I will eventually get all of these seasons, I think, and do all of them monochromatically. And maybe I'll do them as a 4-piece collection, probably, on the scrapbook. Speaking of scrapbooks, let's take a quick detour to see what's on my shelf this week. And this is a Liz Matthews piece. It actually, and it will look different if you were to see the chart. I think it's called For a Friend. And this is actually stitched within the entire piece. But what I ended up doing was I ended up stitching this section, and then I stitched this separately. And I actually have this in the scrapbook. It is layered with dimension. So in person, you can see the dimensional layering to it to make it just a little bit different. So again, some fun ways to maybe look at patterns and change them up slightly. I think this had to be done because of a mistake, but it was one of those happy mistakes that I really like how it ended up coming out. So I would have put interfacing on the back of this piece, and I think I also then made it a little bit thicker by putting a layer or two of cardstock, and then I used dimensional tape and I put it on here specifically. So that's what's on my shelf this week. Okay. That's fun kind of revisiting them. Alrighty, next. So the next one I realized, for those of you who have come here because you know I do the trading cards, yes, I finally stitched one of my things with wings. I have ideas in my head, and there's 2 or 3 different types of things I wanted to stitch, and I said, well, I better get going, right? The deadline for mailing to me is October 1st, so you still have plenty of time if you want to stitch complete and send out to me. And you can, if you're a few days late, don't worry about it. But I wanted to take things, so the theme is things with wings. And so I wanted to take this dragon and give it a little stitch up. And so I did. Now, I've since changed my idea of what I was going to do with this trading card. So you can see I have all this extra fabric, which was complete waste. I took this scrap from my scrap pile. So it's some sort of purple. I don't know what. And I stitched up the dragon. And I was going to keep, this was going to be the bottom, and then it might still go this way. I don't know which way I'm going to do the trading card. I think now I'm just going to pull and do fussy cut around him and then do something around that. So we'll see. But this came from this Enchanted Autumn Cabin, and it was from the fall, right? Just Cross Stitch magazine, and it is Flossy Fox Shop is the designer. We talked about in the flip through the different things you could do and ways you could pull out a lot of these pieces. So very versatile piece, and it's adorable as is if you wanted to stitch it completely as is. So I had to finish this week. It was a start and a finish, but you know, and it's small, but hey, it was something. We had a bit of a non-finish. August is the only month that I did not finish at least one project. And so I figured I needed a win in September, and I needed to do the trading cards. So how perfect to do a start and a finish trading card. So at least I have one finish for September. And those will probably get fully finished, oh, I don't know, at the end of September, sometime in October. And they'll be ready for when the actual mailing goes out for the trading cards. I have 1, 2, 3 more projects. 2 current projects, and at the very end I saved the last one as a start for you. I have a new start. Alrighty, so this one right here, this is the Haunted Library Stitch Along from Lola Crow. It's not a stitch along anymore. This was the mystery stitch along a few years ago, and I waited until it was done. I said I really like it. There's a lot to it, I gotta tell you. There is a lot, and this is a slow going stitch. But that's okay. I am eventually changing. I'm not putting in the clown. Kind of creeps me out a little bit. So I think on the Lola Crow Facebook page, there is a file and there's a typewriter in there. So I think I'll do that, which is perfect because it's all books. I did pull this one out for the I Spy prompt, something you'd see in a school, because you see books in school. Hopefully you don't see haunted librarians, but you never know, right? So there you go. This is 18 Count Imagine from Mystic Fabrics. And I just really enjoy this one. This was a fabric that I didn't know what to do with. And I thought, Oh, this will be fun because it's kind of a different wild and colors, and it will go well with like a Halloween, not a Halloween, but kind of a spooky sort of piece. And a lot of it's going to be filled in. So if you look here, you see a lot of the fabric right now. But okay, won't this be kind of fun to have the colors in there? But this is all full coverage. So in between the shelves, like, you know, here, up here, and up here, it's a nice little blend of color. This will be scrapbooked. I'm almost sure it's going to be scrapbooked. So I might give myself a little bit of the borders. I'll see what it looks like when it's done. I mean, I cut it, you know, already, so it's not like I have a ton, but I don't need a ton of the fabric to show. A little extra might be fun because it is such a fun fabric. I'm almost, actually, this might be the bottom. Yeah, this is probably the bottom. So you can see what the colors, and some of this will show up and some of it won't. I did a lot of black stitching, kind of did some of the outline and the borders this week when I pulled it out. I pulled it out a couple times. I figure if I get some of the frame stitched, then it'll be easier to count to whatever. Because what I'm doing is I'm trying to pull a color, a symbol, pull that color, and then stitch it in different parts of the piece so that it makes it worth pulling it, and it's kind of moving along a little bit better versus taking forever because you're constantly just pulling out a thread for 10 stitches, right? So I figure if I get more of the border done, I can count off a little bit easier. That's the thought process, at least. Okay, two more. This one for I Spy, what was the prompt? Something that reminds you of a book character. Well, this dragon is based off of Xaden's dragon in Fourth Wing. So, aren't we getting close now? Isn't January when the third book in the series is supposed to come out? I have the first one on hold as an audiobook at the library. I've read it a couple times, but I'd like to hear it, you know, and then I'll probably listen to the second one. But I do want to reread the second one right before the third one comes out so that I have, you know, I have it fresh in my head because it's been a while now. But we've talked about this. I had almost convinced myself that I was just going to stitch a dragon. And then several of you were like, oh, that other section is gorgeous. Wouldn't that be cool too? So I'm going to stitch the dragon first. And then if I stitch this, it's going to be a darker color. The border I'm throwing out. We're not doing the border. The border's cool, but I'm only going to, if I do this part, it's just going to be then that section. And it'll be almost circular. I think I could still do whatever I do with it as a square, so I'm not worried about that. Look at this fabric. And because originally when I cut the fabric, I was doing the entire thing, including the border and kind of that moon, that's why I have so much extra on this side. And I can't tell you how many times I've recounted it through the bottom and this side thinking I counted wrong. Or in the top. Actually, the only one I'm not worried about is this side. I've recounted so many times. I think I'm fine. Well, especially if I don't do the border, then I most definitely am fine. So here I am using She's So Blue, which is a variegated floss, cotton floss from Roxy Floss. And if I do the outer kind of moon, kind of Celtic moon borderish, I'm going to use Planetarium from Roxy Floss as well. I wasn't planning on using variegated floss for the border anyway, so it's not like I'm missing out on a specific color. I was going to use a DMC, a deep DMC. This is 18 count Phoenix from Stitch Me, and I started it in February for the year #Year of the Dragon Sal, which I thought was perfect. So we will see. I have plans for kind of the Fourth Wing dragons and ideas, but you know, nothing ever stitches up as fast as you think it's going to. So, which is fine because she's not writing any faster than I'm stitching. So, you know, by the time all five, I think it's 5 books that we're expecting in the series, by the time all 5 come out, I think I'll be okay. Especially if I have a dragon project going. Once I finish this one, I think I know what I want to start next. And here's my new start. So this is a brand new Jan Hicks Sunflower Medley. This was one of the pieces that came out this past August for, I think it's called Needlework Marketplace. And I am doing this for Sunflower September. As soon as I saw this piece, I said, I have to stitch it. Oh my gosh, I have to stitch it. So I do like the blue, and I did want to take a cue from that. And I was gifted this 18 count Ariel from Picture This Plus. And I think it's perfect. Picture This Plus, I'm always nervous to buy unless I really need that color, because I have both the shale and the jade, which I've used for multiple projects, and it is so loose, and I stitch in hand. So I pull it quite a bit, and it's difficult for me to stitch with, although I do it. But this is beautiful. I don't know if it just happens to be this color or this round of hand dyeing or what, but it's to stitch in hand. This Ariel is a joy. And I think I'm pretty proud of the start I got on this one. That's the width. So right here, it's going to say sunflowers down this side, and that's the width there. And I was doing all of this color, and then, but I could have done more of the words, but I wanted to get some of the sunflower colors in. And those colors also start going in some of these inside border things. So I am slowly, there's these little triangles have something like 3 different colors in them. So I figure what I'll do is I'll pull a strand when I have somewhere else to go with it and start filling those in as I go. So Sunflower Medley, Hicks Creates, 18 count Ariel from Picture This Plus. And I love this. I will definitely be pulling this one out again this month. And multiple times until it's done. I am a big fan of Jan Hicks. I'm sure you know that because I think I have 5 on open projects from Jan Hicks right now. So clearly I like her stuff. And that's that. So that's all of the pieces I stitched on this week. Now, I accidentally brought all these other finished pieces. I have no idea when I grabbed my stuff why I grabbed everything. Oh, well, that's just there. Okay, so what's going on for plans? First off, I wanted to circle back. Remember when I talked about Snickerdoodle Stitch? It got me thinking that was a Delaware Flosstuber I didn't know about. And I thought, I'm going to try something new each week on my Facebook page. And I will tell you about it then on my Flosstube. So you don't have to be part of Facebook. If you think of people and you want to add them to the comments in the videos as I talk about it, feel free. And I will I think I want to do some sort of lists for my own self, and it'd be fun maybe to put them, if I can figure out how to do files in my Facebook page, I will do that. So I thought it would be fun. We're going to start with the 50 states, then we'll move international. But I thought it would be fun to pick a state and then ask people who they watch that live in that state from Flosstube. And so because it was a new Delaware person to me and I live in Delaware, I picked that one this month. So besides myself and Snickerdoodle Stitch, the 2 others that came up on the Facebook post were, where's my notes? Stitch, Read, Repeat, and Spectrum Farms. I've watched both of them. They're also very, I don't know if I've talked about Stitch, Read, Repeat. I know I haven't talked about Spectrum Farms because that was new to me. So at some point I want to talk about them as well, if I haven't talked about Stitch, Read, Repeat. But another 2 fun Flosstubers, so I'm excited now. So now there's 4 of us that I know of in Delaware. So if you have a Flosstube and you live in Delaware, or you watch somebody else that you know of besides those 4, us 4, let us know. And what I will do in my notes is whatever state I pick, then what I'll do is I'll put, like for this one, it'll be Delaware Flosstubers, and I will list them. And then I'm sure there's a way, there's some sort of just pick a state sort of wheel that I can find online rather than creating a wheel for myself. And then I'll just spin it and pick a state and go from there. So I'll pick the states at random. So this week is Delaware. Next week will be something else. Hopefully on Monday, I will have it listed on my Facebook page, what state I've picked, so that you can give us some more information there. So I just thought that would be fun. You know, first, like I said, because I'm in the US, I'm just going with US states, but I promise we will definitely branch out into international as well. And this way, this is fun. This will give us, this time next year, we'll be branching into international if I keep it up and keep this going. So I think there will. I think I will. I don't know why I wouldn't, unless I just forget to do it one week. But, you know, you can all remind me otherwise, especially if you're on Facebook on the page. And if I haven't listed on Monday, say, hey, Laura, what's our state this week? Alrighty. So there's that. Plans. I'm going to continue with ABCingo. Today is Z. Now, I know I can do Zweigart, you know, so any fabric that's on a Zweigart fabric, that's probably what I'll end up doing. I'm not sure, unless I've come up with something else for Z. But that might be difficult. Then there's the I Spy. I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the prompts that I need to do. One of which is going to be my modern folk embroidery, the peacock tree, which I did not pull out fabrics. If you have a suggestion, this is the floss I'm going to do for the peacock tree pattern. It's called Kingfisher from Stitchy Stuff. And I just haven't decided what fabric I want to use yet. So maybe that'll be a start this week. But I will continue with the I Spy. I would like to do some more of my trading card stitches. I have a couple, like I said, more ideas of things with wings. So that is a possibility you'll see next week. And then I'm also going to start pulling out projects that I started in October. I've done for several years now. I'm not sure if I started in 2020 or 2021. I'm leaning towards 2021, I think, because this would make the 4th year. That probably is what it is. I don't actually know, 21 or 22. I don't know. Whatever. I've done it a few years now. Is hashtag pumpkin birthday Sal stitch along. Basically, whether it's a new start or it can be one of your current projects, and related to pumpkins somehow, whether it has pumpkins on the stitch, whether it's stitched with pumpkin colored floss or fabric or something pumpkin adjacent, however you can make the case for it, then jump on, and that will be in October. So I'm going to pull out the pieces as I start multiple in the course of the October month. I can't just keep myself with one. I will pull out the ones that are still ongoing pieces that I have started in previous Octobers, probably show you that next week, because now we're getting towards the end of the month. By then, it'll be the 20th. And let me know if you're going to play along and what you're going to do. If you've decided, or you're going to start something new, you're going to pull out an existing project. Maybe you started this last year and you want to pull that project out again because it's still available. Whatever. So that is on the horizon. So start thinking about your pumpkin stitches. I would love for you to join me. Alrighty. And then, oh, so exciting. Jessie Marie does stuff. I was, well, there's a backstory, right? There's always a backstory. Mandy Parker, who I love her floss tubes, Mandy had reached out and said, have you watched Jessie Marie does stuff yet? And I said, no, I haven't. I was backlogged a few videos. And she said, oh, well, a couple videos ago, she mentioned a new needle workshop coming to Delaware. So, of course, I immediately had to watch that video. Everything else got bumped in the line like it seems to do, right? And she talked about how, I think, I went online. There's an online shop. It's called Floss and Flame, and they are going to have a brick and mortar that they're opening sometime in the fall. And they do have an online presence. And I think it said they'll be opening it in Dover, Delaware. Dover is probably about an hour away from me. I actually had to be in Dover yesterday, and it took us about an hour to get there. It's, again, straight shot, just right up. It's literally, I get onto Route 1 and I just go. And that gets me into Dover, and then you go off, and then there's another area that you go, whatever. But, so as long as there's not traffic seasonally, then it takes me about an hour. So I'm so excited. I signed up for whatever newsletter or information and stuff. So when I find out when that is opening, I am definitely making a trip up to Dover in order to check it out. And it's called Floss and Flame because I think the owner also makes candles, so there'll also be a section with candles. I think that's what Jessie Marie said on her video. Almost sure. But yeah, that's so exciting. So that's future plans. I might have a road trip going up to Dover. Alrighty. Happy mail. I'm getting trading cards in. I can't show you yet. I'm so fun to see them. I love the different ideas that people are doing for what they're stitching, how they're finishing, and it's just been fun. Don't panic though, you still have plenty of time if you'd like to stitch and finish. I do have a video in my playlist that is trading cards. The most recent one I think would be the one that would tell you about our Stitch with Wings, Things with Wings theme and the current swap that is in progress at the moment. So you have plenty of time. Don't worry if you want to join in. Alrighty, what did I do for shopping? I did one that is cross-stitch related and one that is cross-stitch adjacent. You know, for example, I like to scrapbook a lot of my stitching, as well as I use these things in my either my challenge journal, or I also have this from Commit 30 is I get these every year, and these are my stitching planners. So I have different things there that I like to do and decorate. And then, for example, September, that's how I've started to do September. I want to put, I think, I never had a plan what I was going to do here, but I think I'm going to start printing off pictures. This would have been at the end of August, of either things that happen life-wise or in stitching, and start putting like collage of photos and stuff in those pages. So I use, obviously, for my planners and my books that way, as well as my scrapbooks. So I ended up picking up, just from Amazon, you can find different things. And I like to look at the reviews to see what people say of stuff. So I picked up some washi tape. And washi tape is great because it's a fun thing to use for decorating. We have really thin, skinny ones that come thicker. And these right here, for example, this one, that's the entire row. So sometimes these sets are fun to get because you will get all different sizes and designs. And they're usually a theme. They're themed, or sometimes they're just like a specific color, or they're multiple colors but just one size. Lots of different things you can get there. There are washi tape places you can also order from on Etsy if you're interested. So I got that. And then I got, and a lot of this, it's going to make a mess, but sometimes you can get sets of ephemera and like different stickers, different things that you can cut out, or, you know, like papers that you can add things to, whether you want to write something in there, or you could just rip it and use parts of it. And this one has lots of different stickers. It was kind of an outdoor butterfly theme, so a lot of those as well. So that whole set, it was just called Deco Paper, and it was just a whole set. In fact, I'm keeping this because I think I'll cut this out, and I think I can use this for something as well. I think that would be fun collage-wise. So that came in. And then the last thing, I like to use both cardstock as bases, and then I like to use patterned paper sometimes as layers. Let me put this over here on the frame. And this, I like different kind of just plain colors sometimes. So this was from Craft Consortium, and it's the Essential Craft Papers Grunge Light Tones. So you have all of these pieces. These are double-sided. So, which means obviously you have to pick a side sometimes depending on, let me see the best way to do this. See how you have all the different colors? And then, let me see if I can, for example, you know, these are two different sided. One's lighter, one's darker, one might be grungier than another. You can see here. And this actually, I was really pleasantly surprised because sometimes patterned paper can be very, very thin. If you're layering it, for example, if I was layering it in my planner, it wouldn't matter. But if I wanted to use this as more of a base of something or hold things up a little bit better, this thickness is really nice, I have to say. And they have different, does it say what the weight is? 180 grams. I don't quite understand the whole paper weighting system, so I don't always get it. But this one here, Crafts Consortium, the craft papers. So that was that. And I will use those quite a bit for my scrapbooking, for my trading cards, as well as just in my planners and my challenge journal, my challenge planner, as well as my just plant stitching and life planner. I do a combination with that Commit 30 is everything in that. Okay, and then the last thing I did was I had a trip to Salty Yarns, yay! And so I picked up some pieces. I picked up some charts, and then I picked up, because I wanted your opinion on something. I'm going to have a new start, and I picked up a couple flosses because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I was heavy. I leaned very heavily into Halloween and fall here. So quite a few of these are that. Halloween Kisses from Primrose Cottage. I have several of these, kisses and wishes kind of pieces. This is Booze, Hisses, and Halloween Kisses on this one. They're quick stitches from Primrose. I just did one, I think. Just finished one recently. Oh yeah, the winter one. And they're fun. I'll use them probably as leaners and decor that way. Then I kind of went on bought 3 of the seasons here. From Robin Pickens, we got Blackbird's Autumn Pumpkin. I'm sure I'll stitch this for, and I might start this in October for the pumpkin birthday stitch along. I got Cardinal's Winter. And then I ended up getting Blue Jay Summer. This is the only 3 they had. I don't know what the 4th one is, but I bought the 3 that they had. And I am not stitching all of that. So I am only going to stitch for each of them. I'm not going to do kind of the borders. I'm going to do the intersection with the birds. So we're going to do obviously all the pumpkins and then the stuff surrounding the bird on this one. On this one, we will do the cardinal on the pine cone. And maybe some snowflakes around. But I will probably change some of these pieces to just be snowflakes. And then on this one, easy here, I'll probably stitch, I might stitch this little flower to the side too, but it might just be this section right here. I think it might be fun to stitch these. If I don't want to make them as leaners or something, I might try to do all 4 of them once I figure out what the 4th one is, and have them in a large scrapbook page, like a 12 by 12, and have all 4 of them on the page. So you'd have all the seasonal pieces right there. That's a thought I was thinking about with that. I don't know if that's what I'll finally do, but it's a possibility. So I got those. And then I got from Little Robin Designs, I got Slightly Spooky. I thought those were cute. I do like to do like some ornamental pieces seasonally. So especially like that Boo would be cute, and actually all 3 are cute. So I got that one. And then the last last chart I got is October Quakers from Liz Matthews. I thought that was fun. You know how much I enjoy doing Quakers. I really do like them, and I like Liz Matthews. So I picked that up. And can I not have fun? These are monochromatic pieces. Totally going to figure out some variegated flosses and work with those. Then the other thing I got 2 different types of threads, flosses. I'm not sure, one's not really a floss. I'm not sure what to call it, because, where is my iPad? Oh, here it is. I want to show you this. We talked about the fact that I am going to stitch from the Halloween issue. Remember, we had the poll. It was, am I stitching the raven or am I stitching the owl? And, we've talked about the fact that most likely I'll stitch both of them. I mean, who am I kidding? But the raven won, so the raven's going to get the start first. So that's what it looks like. So I am thinking I'm going to stitch on this, which is just, I went through my scraps as opposed to opening up, I keep my scraps. Why not use them? So I'm thinking I would use that grayish kind of, and it's mottled, so it looks good, right? And then I have the black, and I'm changing, I think, the brown. The brown was a little bit lighter, but I think I'm going to go a little darker. I'm not 100% sure, because I need to see what it'll look like against the raven itself. And I probably will stitch the words Nevermore. I've thought about, we talked about in the flip through, not doing that. Maybe I'll do all of that, see if I want the Nevermore or not. Then the moon is charted in just a white. But I was thinking I would really like a yellow, and I have 2 very different types here. When I went to Salty Yarns, I just looked at all of their kind of yellows that would say, would that be fun for a moon? And then this one here from Threadworks is called Sunrise. So there's this. So this moon would be definitely deeper and darker. And then I picked up Petite Silk Lame Braid. I don't know, it's got a name. Oh, it's called Lemon. So should I go deeper or lighter? I'm not really sure. I haven't decided. I'm leaning a little bit towards lighter so that the moon, because I feel like this is gorgeous, but I think it might compete with the Raven. And obviously the Raven is the piece that we're looking at. The moon is the background. So if I was, if you had to put me on the spot right this second, I think I'm leaning towards the lemon. And then we have the black for the Raven and the brown. This brown might be, like I said, a little too dark. We might have to lighten that up a little bit. So let's just look at these two colors. I think versus this one, that's a great combination, but I'm just concerned that then the moon will outshine the Raven. So do you have thoughts? Light, dark, sunrise versus the lemon. But I would like to start this. And the moon is kind of top center. So I think I would start with the moon. So it might be a decision soon. It'll have to be a decision soon if I want to get that one started. So there's that. Okay, so that is that's my shopping because that's all I got at the store. Alrighty, giveaways. So back when I had my 6,000 subscriber giveaway, I was giving away three. Excuse me, the strap keeps falling. It's driving me nuts. Three $20 gift certificates to 123 Stitch. And I heard from two of the three and I gave it 3 weeks. Usually I give 2, but this was a big, kind of giveaway. And I wanted to give the person a 3rd week. And I checked all of the spams from Facebook, Instagram, and Gmail, and I did not see anything listed. So I picked a new winner. So the new winner for the $20 gift card to 123 Stitch is, make sure I have this right, Kim Sopar 6976. So Kim, if you could get back to me with your email address of where you want the gift certificate to be sent to, that would be great. So that's that. Then last week's giveaway was, these are 2 exact same sizes of 30 count linen. There's not a specific color name listed on it, but those are the 2. I know they look smaller, but I think they're just folded differently. And the 2 winners for that, I asked you to say the word apple. And the 2 winners are, number 1 is Mary Ann Johnson 5410. So Mary Ann, congratulations. And then the second winner is Stitch and Frog. Oh, I hope you're not frogging too much. Stitch and Frog. And if the 2 of you could get back to me with your mailing addresses, that would be fantastic. Alrighty, so that's that. And then this week's giveaway is this fun piece here. It is from Erica Michaels, and it is called Chocolate or Coffee. I know some of you who adore coffee you're gonna just hate when I just say this. I drink decaf coffee. I'm not a coffee person. I'm not an everyday coffee person. The only caffeine I really get is from my green tea, just because I don't sleep well as it is, and the caffeine will make it worse. So I don't drink a lot of caffeine, if any, very little. So I know so many people love and appreciate coffee, and these are so pretty. And there's even a, I don't think there's any words, but there's a berry with just a pretty design. So I thought this would be a lot of fun to give away, because I know there's people who appreciate both coffee and chocolate, or like to do berries, and all 3, who knows? So if you could say the word coffee, COFFEE, please don't say giveaway, free, win, any of those. Please be at least 18. I would love it if you're a subscriber. You don't have to be a public subscriber. And I'm not checking. It's all on your word and your honor. But say the word coffee, and then I will do the little comment picker next time around, and I will pick a winner for this. So that's that. Alrighty. Told you there was a lot today, and I did the best I could. I tried not to talk too much, and here we are at 1 hour and 19, and I have a mess here in front of me. So we'll go to life real quick, and then if you don't care about that stuff, have a great week. I will see you next time around. Okay, so Saturday, so I mentioned obviously when I did my shopping that we went to Salty Yarns. I went to Salty Yarns. We did. Last weekend was the international break for Premier League soccer. So, of course, that meant, okay, there's some time available now because Mo's not watching soccer. So he was going to go volunteer at the animal shelter, but it was one of those adoption weekends, and he said it's crazy there. And he likes to go when there's not a lot of people there, so the dogs get the walks. You know, the dogs are going to get the attention and the walks and everything else on a day like that. So he ended up not doing that, so we had the whole day free. And he said, well, you want to take a trip down to Salty Yarns, and then we'll go out, once we're in Maryland, we'll go out to lunch. I said, absolutely. If you are offering to drive me to Salty Yarns, I am not going to say no. And I worked on that autumn sampler on the way down to Salty Yarns. So we went shopping. We left probably, well, I think Mo played pickleball. So by the time that was done and we were ready to go, it was probably a little afternoon. We went to Salty Yarns. I did my shopping. I don't think I stayed there too long. You know, he brought a book, but I try not to. And they have seats both inside and outside, you know, so if somebody's not shopping, they can hang out. But I try not to be too long, you know, if somebody's waiting on me. And there's so much to see there that sometimes small bites is great because it's overwhelming because they have so much available. If you've never been to Salty Yarns, you will be, it's just, there's charts after charts and just amazing. And then we scooted over from Berlin, Maryland, over to Ocean City, Maryland, and we went to our favorite Thai restaurant and had it was a late lunch, kind of late lunch, early dinner kind of thing. So we like to order so that we have leftovers, which meant there was a whole nother set of meals the next day, which is the best when you can get 2 meals out of it. They make the best soups there, and I've tried to replicate them at home, and I just can't. So we had it was a beautiful day. So it was a lovely day for a drive. Traffic to Salty Yarns is not going to be that much because the way you go, you're not going to hit a lot of traffic. But Ocean City, now that it's past Labor Day, was pretty quiet. Not like middle of the winter quiet, but certainly not a lot of traffic. And then all the way up through Bethany and Dewey and all that, traffic wasn't bad at all. So it was a really lovely trip without really getting stuck anywhere. And it was beautiful weather. So we enjoyed ourselves. So that was a really lovely day. I was able to jump on some Stitchy Zooms this week. There was a couple others that I really wanted to join on. And just with the schedule, I wasn't able to. Wednesday night, Crafts and Books had one, and I really wanted to join, but the schedule didn't work, and I was bummed about that because they had a theme for that one, and I was like, I can fit into that theme. But I just really enjoy and appreciate everybody who hosts the Zooms, and I'm going to look at the calendar and see. I definitely want at least one in October for my Stitchy birthday. So maybe we'll do one at the beginning, and then I wonder what day of the week my birthday is on, because I doubt we would go out. Let me see if I look in the calendar. I doubt we would do something. So maybe something around my birthday. I think I'm midweek because my birthday always falls the same day as Christmas. Yeah, I'm in the middle of the week. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do something fun for my birthday too. Alrighty, so keep an eye out. Hopefully I will mention them. If I do any Zooms, I'll mention them here on the videos. I'll put them on my Facebook page. And I always encourage you, if you hear about it and you don't want to be on Facebook, reach out to me and I will give you any links or whatever by email or Instagram or anything like that. Alrighty, so that is life. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Other stuff went on this week, but you know, that's good. I have a whole nother story, but that would take at least 10 minutes to talk about. So we're not going to, we had an adventure yesterday. Let's just put it that way. So if I remember, I'll tell you about my adventure next week, especially if we're not at a minute and an hour and 24 minutes. So I'll leave it there. I hope you are well and safe and healthy and you're I can't believe we're halfway through September already, but I hope your September is going well for you, or it's the best it can be for you. You know, I really, really want you to take time for yourself to do something that makes you happy, makes you feel good, makes you feel relaxed. You know, you are important and what you like to do is super important. So I know especially at our different phases of life, there's always so many things kind of tearing at us. And I've been there, believe you me. I spent lots and lots of years of possibly not putting myself anywhere first ever. And I think we do it as a disservice to ourselves when we don't just take some time literally just for ourselves, even if it's 10 minutes in a day. Do something that will make you feel good. And remember that your wants and your needs and your likes are super important too, because you are important. Okay, that's it. I'm off my soapbox. But I hope you have some great stitching time coming up at some point, or if you're doing, I know there's retreats going on and different fun stuff. So I hope you're just enjoying life, whether it's the upcoming spring or it's the upcoming fall here in the States. I hope it's all going well. So until next time, happy stitching.